All right, let's jump right in. Today we're going to put on our coaching hats and do a deep dive, a tactical breakdown of one single decision in the IPL that had absolutely massive consequences. This is a story all about pressure, about data, and about what happens when a captain's call goes horribly wrong.
So picture the scene. It is the ultimate pressure cooker in all of T20 cricket, the super over. You've just played a full, nail-biting match, and it's a tie. So everything, your whole season, it all comes down to just 6 balls. And for the captain, Rishabh Pant, this is one of those moments that can make or break a campaign.
But it just completely unraveled. The Lucknow Super Giants scored just 1 run. 1. And the other team? They chased it down on the very first ball. Game over. So the big question we're digging into is, with everything to play for, how did it go so spectacularly wrong?
To really understand what happened, we have to start with the immediate reaction from one of the legends of the game. And let me tell you, it was harsh. The decision made in that moment wasn't just questioned, it was absolutely condemned.
Yep, that's the great Dale Steyn, one of the best pace bowlers ever, and he did not mince words. Criminal. I mean, just think about that word. That is an incredibly strong thing to say in a sports analysis, and it tells you just how big of a blunder people thought this was.
So, why such a brutal takedown? What did a guy like Steyn see that made him react so strongly? Okay, let's really dive in and unpack the logic behind his criticism.
Steyn's point was actually pretty simple, but it was powerful. He said, look, when you absolutely have to win, you go with your players who are in form, the guys who are feeling good, seeing the ball like a beach ball, and just getting results. The problem? Lucknow sent in Nicholas Pooran, a guy who was really struggling that season.
And this right here, this gets to the absolute heart of it. This isn't just about stats, you know? It's about psychology. Steyn basically said he didn't think Pooran himself even believed he could do the job. So you're sending a player out for the toughest task in the game when his own self-belief is probably at rock bottom. That's a recipe for disaster.
So here's the crucial part. This wasn't just a gut feeling from an expert. Oh no, the warning signs were all there in the data, plain as day. This decision wasn't just questionable in theory. The hard numbers were screaming that this was a bad idea.
Let's just start with the history, okay? Nicholas Pooran had been in this exact high-pressure super over situation 3 times before in his career. 3 chances to be the hero for his team. And in those 3 appearances, he scored a grand total of 0 runs. That's right. 3 appearances, 3 ducks. He got out every single time. This wasn't a calculated risk. This was just ignoring a really clear, predictable pattern of failure.
And this is what makes the whole thing so mind-boggling. It's not like the team was out of options. They had guys like Mitch Marsh, even the captain Rishabh Pant himself, proven big hitters who were actually in decent form. The guys you trust to, as Steyn said, clear the ropes. Instead, they went with the one guy who was out of form and had a perfect record of not scoring.
Now, look, it's really easy for us to sit here and pick this whole thing apart after the fact. But let's try to understand the human side of it. What could possibly have been going through Captain Rishabh Pant's mind in that moment?
We have to acknowledge the insane pressure of being a captain in that situation. The game is tied, the stadium is absolutely roaring, your team's fate is hanging in the balance, and you have literally seconds to decide who you're going to trust. It is an incredibly lonely, high-stakes moment.
And these are the things every captain carries. Do you trust a player's raw potential, remembering that Pooran is a wonderful player? Or do you look at the cold, hard facts of his current form? It is a classic leadership trap, backing the reputation over the reality. It's a constant balancing act, and this time the balance was just way off.
So let's zoom out from just this one match. What's the real takeaway here? What does this moment teach all of us about strategy and leadership when the pressure is on?
The consequences were immediate, and they were severe. This one loss sent Lucknow tumbling right to the bottom of the points table. It is just a brutal reminder that in a league this competitive, a single, flawed decision, one over, one choice of batter, can genuinely derail your entire season.
And that leaves us with the fundamental question this whole thing forces us to ask. When the game is on the line and you have to make the call, where do you put your faith? Do you trust the data that shows a clear history of failure? Or do you trust the potential of the person right in front of you, just hoping that this is the time they finally come through? That's a question every leader in any field